a TV show right now on HBO called American Gods that literally is showing that exact teaching. And like, you know, it's a show, guys. You gotta watch this shit. Wow. So you'll see how you might be a living descendant of the god Anansi, of the god Shango, of a god of Oludumare.
That's crazy. You know what? Now, you know, he's getting to like the lessons.
Remember, Oludumare came to West Africa from the East by choice and took thousands of motherfuckers with him.
See,
and then what do you think they did next, God? They was the wisest people of that time, God. When the slave traders came, they wasn't dumb, deaf, and blind, God. They wasn't fooled.
See, God, see, now you going into this signs and what you talk about. You talk about, it's like what you explained, basically the 1 in 36. Right? Now, your history, your personal history dealing with Bengali goes, it's
I had to look at my own 1 to 36. Yeah. God, when I was about 28, I said, I'm going to do my own 1 to 36. My name is Sujan Kumar Das. I came to North America by myself. My uncle was, I forgot what I said. My uncle was dominated by the trade. Oh, my uncle was invited by the trader. You know what I mean? Like 20 years ago, something like that, right? Or my uncle was conquered by the trader 200 years ago, whether it was the British. Or my uncle was invaded by the trader, but it wasn't a trader in this situation. So I forgot how exactly it went, but I had one that really went all the way to 1 to 36 because at this time I wanted to really, like I said, I wanted to know where I stood in this culture.
Right, and that's what I'm saying because a lot of us when we talk about we talk about signs of the tribal Shabazz or you dealing with the American.
God, remember we say that we the Asiatic black man. That's the commonality between me and you.
Right. But then in our lessons we have English C lesson, but we don't have like the history of like the Catholics, or the history of the Hinduism.
You don't have the history. No, you got a little bit.
Buddhism. We said Buddhism 35,000, and that's really dealing with the.
And Elijah and Farad talked a little bit about what was going on in India. They talked about the Buddha. So we got an Asiatic calendar, and amongst us, if we really got them plus, that's the story of the Buddha. You get a little something about who the first Buddha was. So we actually in a position to teach modern day Buddhists about their science.
Right.
And a lot of us don't know. I didn't know what to make of Hinduism and all these other things. So years of study, God, years and years of study. But I really had to be seriously invested. And one of the most important things, God, was I never assumed that 120 was wrong. I just wanted to investigate it to see where it came from. And in trying to figure out how this kind of really crazy knowledge was preserved when nobody else had it. Like there was some stuff like, homie, just as simple as Pluto, God. Nobody was really talking about Pluto then. And Farad was talking about Pluto then. You gotta realize these is poor people in Detroit talking about a planet that scientists just discovered.
In the 30s. Right.
You feel me? Like this, so like, it's layers to it. Like, I wanted to know, like, this council where he said that in the East they had a council, the supreme leaders of Islam, the wisest people.
Scientists?
Yes. But it was really just the wise leaders of Islamic communities from around the world, and by Islamic we really mean like Sufi communities. Sufi and knowledge of self-related communities from the Asiatic world. Basically from West Africa to the Sudan to Persia, Iran, Syria, Egypt, some parts of Europe, and these were places where they were both Sufi and Masons. You know what I mean? Like they were, and I mean like Egyptian Freemasons and like the real secret society. They wasn't white men though. These was original people. These original people I'm talking about in all situations. These like mostly like, they might be Arabs, they might be Africans, so quote unquote, or they might be Asians, or they might be Afghans, you know what I mean? And it was because they was preserving a very now little known tradition, right? Which we see in a bunch of diverse forms now where, we know all the Sufis kind of have this idea of that, I'm here to embody the will of Allah and me, we're not supposed to see the separation, but because of the Islamic community, I gotta be very careful about shirk to not say I am Allah. And of course, it's nobody's business to be out here saying I am Allah. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I love that Allah was Allah, and I can say my last name is Allah, because it ain't my business to be like, well, that man did that. Because think about what he did. He was the first black man to declare himself Allah. He really was Allah by that, because he really brought out being Allah. Remember, there was brothers that was in the mosque that Farad was naming Allah. but they wasn't made the central point for the community. Nobody was taught, hey y'all, here going to law for Memphis, here going to law for Detroit, here going to law for Chicago. Who did that? Who had an law for different cities and boroughs, God? Remember how ABG got the name ABG? You feel me? Because he took the knowledge to Medina. And taking the knowledge to Medina was not easy, because it was gang culture, for real out there. Like we going through right now. So all we seen is historical cycles repeating, because when ABG came, you know, it was the chaplains and the whatever, you know, they all the wild names. And he told them that he was God, and that they was God, and there was some altercations and there was some drama, but he fought his way through that. And when he was able to teach them and he came back, man, that's a law-born God right there. You know, and he's so humble now, he just go by, you know, ABG. You know?
Yeah.
And he's the one that told me, he said, God is not one that's served by humanity. Ultimately, we are the ultimate servant of humanity. I've been rocking with that ever since, man. It keeps me from getting the big head syndrome, no matter what the internet do for me.
If Mecca did this.